What's up, fight fans? This is Counterpunch with Counterpunch Boxing News. And I have some new news concerning Tyson, the Gypsy King Fury. You know, a lot of people are saying things about Tyson Fury that may not be true. A lot of things I don't believe to be true a lot of times. And let's talk about it. I just saw a video where Blue Blood was getting into it with ldbc. If you guys don't know ldbc, it means I'm on that bullshit again. You know, he had a very popular page on Facebook once upon a time. YouTube, not so much, but he's still a YouTuber. He's still a content creator. And him and Blue Blood were getting at it. They were going at it back and forth. And ldbc made a statement that he stated that he asked Blue Blood about Mark Breland. And at first Blue Blood was like, you know what? I don't want to talk about that. That ain't the issue right now. The issue is the gloves. And then eventually, after a lot of back and forth attempted talking, see, that's what arguments are. People trying to talk, either one's not listening to the other, or they're both trying to talk at the same fucking time. You know what I mean? So you had a lot of that back and forth, but Blue Blood came out and admitted, like, I don't believe that Mark Breland would do something like that. You know, and I'm glad at least that Blue Blood did take that stance, because it's different from people saying that Mark Breland did it or thinking he did it versus, you know, people that don't believe he did it. And the only reason they're going along with it is because Deontay Wilder said it or claimed it or whatever. That's the difference. You know, and it also shows that you don't agree with every single thing that a person says. You know what I'm saying? Because that just really makes you a yes man. Two, it really makes you a bitch, a flunky. That's what that really means. It makes you just, you know, one of those people that are blindly obedient to the things that don't hold fact or truth. And Blue Blood knew that. He knew that though that Spike Water didn't hold any truth to it. Now, would he come out and make a whole video on it like, I don't believe that? No, he ain't gonna do that shit. But when pressed, when forced, it's almost like when they forced Donald Trump to say something bad about white supremacists, you know, for a comparison. They had to force him to say that. Just like they had to force, basically, Blue Blood and pressure him to say what he already knew and what he believed. Now, he did it. So, give credit to Blue Blood Sports TV for giving credit about his own personal beliefs. Like, I don't believe that Mark would do it. But then he said something very tricky, right? Well, we don't know if he did or didn't, you know. So that really put him back in the shit house, because he's saying basically, well, I don't think he did, but we don't know and can't prove. Well, what ldbc was trying to say is, well, you can't prove any of this shit, because you, based off what you're saying or what you're claiming, you don't have any facts on none of this shit. You don't know if he did it or didn't. Because I keep telling people, if there was hardcore proof, like these tabloid channels were putting out, if there were just proof, but like, oh, the glove, why'd the glove look like that? Now, he's talking about a fight that happened in 2018. This is 2021. So you're talking about a fight that happened 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying? That's the flimsy. They were talking about the flimsy glove. So nobody was really, or ldbc didn't really pick up on that he was asking, well, why was the glove floppy? Yeah, but the second fight with the glove that had grooves in it and shit, you act like your glove can't be fucking, you can't punch an object and make something look like a certain indention. He was fucking hitting Deontay Wilder. It would have been different if the fight started and he ain't laid no type of hands, and that glove had no type of trauma to that glove. Understand, gloves are to protect the hands of the fighters. So he was saying, well, it looked tampered with. That's what Glovegate 2.0 was on. But he was talking about the first fight, which was Glovegate 1.0. and he was talking about the flimsy glove, which LTBA, yeah, I mean, I don't get why the hell he just didn't, you know, just agree, because I mean, yeah, everybody look, yeah, the glove was all floppy, he was floppy and shit like that, you know. But that's what happens when you slap with fucking punches. You flick punches. That's how it's gonna look. That tape was, if you looked at that tape was on there, but it was loose. It wasn't on there like a normal fighter's glove supposed to be taped and wrapped the fuck up, right? It wasn't like that, right? So he had leeway to flick it on the way he was punching. And he wasn't really even punching. He wasn't even throwing the jab. He was flicking the jab. But we act like we ain't seen that shit. Larry Holmes did that shit. Muhammad Ali did that shit. You know, they did that just to keep that fighter back, to keep that glove in his face. It's almost equivalent of you doing this, stiff arming a fighter, but you're rapidly flicking. And that, you know what I mean? And Wilder, he was slapping Wilder in the face with it. Was shit in the glove? Was shit taken out the glove? No. So that Nicholas Asbury shit, that was just training shit. It was some dirty ass shit. If you guys like, I can make a video about that. You know what I mean? But that had nothing to do with the second glove. So anyway, so those guys went back and forth and was talking about things that could possibly be this, or possibly can be that. But you look at this whole argument, it's more than likely just something that people can't prove. They've hyped it up. They've talked it up. They've sold you the idea of a possibility, because that's all really what they're doing. Like, hey, is there a possibility due to Tyson Fury cheating, Tyson Fury's history, Tyson Fury's this, Tyson Fury's that? Is there a possibility that he could have cheated? Well, there's a possibility that he attempted to cheat, right? But then there's no evidence of him even attempting anything. It seems like to me, if he did cheat, that means the attempt was successful. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was successful because, and another thing, like, if those guys would have just, if they would be real about how they really feel about everything, the real part, just like my channel, if Tyson Fury cheated, JD's was in on it, or he was incompetent. Either way, it's a no-go. Either if it was deliberate or accidental. I mean, accidental, that means he didn't catch it, he didn't see it, he didn't expect it like he's supposed to. That means he shouldn't have been in there in the first place. That's just simple. There's no hate towards the man. It's just, you know, he's that. So to discredit JD's, you know, which they ain't done, or to blame JD's, which they ain't done, is one thing that they totally overlook. And I don't see why. And I haven't seen a video yet from any of those cats that put JD's in his place, right? And give it, you know, and tell JD's like, hey, you need to go. But I will say this, that didn't stop them from making videos on how Anthony Joshua should leave his trainer, Rob McCracken. Remember that? Remember Rob McCracken was the talk of the town, like, hey, you guys need to sack Rob McCracken. Sack McCracken. You know, Lennox Lewis did it, a lot of those. Now they ran to that, like, yeah, he needs to get rid of his coach, his former head trainer, Rob McCracken. Right? And they talked all types of shit. But nobody says nothing about Wilder. That's the problem with those guys. You know. And first of all, that's how they should be real. They should tell Deontay Wilder, like, yo, I think you need to get rid of JD's. You know what I mean? How do we really know he has his best interest in heart? You know, and that's easy coming out of somebody that's really a, you know, like a pro-black person. That's easy for a pro-black person to say, well, once you get a black trainer. You know? But then for that reason, why did you fire your black trainer and kept the white trainer? You know, but none of that's been spoken of. So, you know, you can't really just take everything for cash value that a person says or whatever. It doesn't work that way. But anyway, IOTBA Blue Blood Sports TV talked about things that they couldn't prove. Blue Blood confessed that, no, I don't think that Mark Breland would do something like that, right? But then again, he didn't really necessarily call Deontay Wilder a liar. But Deontay Wilder didn't really necessarily, if you read between the lines, he didn't say, hey, I think he did it. He said, I believe he did it. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.